Hey guys, Days here of Holy Insanity, bringing you some tips and tricks for Masterfrost in 4.3, The Hour of Twilight. Let's start by going over the differences between Masterfrost and the ordinary Obliterate Haste spec. The first major difference is the priority, or as some might call it, the rotation. You may already know the standard Obliterate priority, where Obliterate is the most important. Well, the Masterfrost priority is significantly more complex. You'll want to start by applying your diseases with Outbreak, then obliterating once, and after that use Howling Blast and Frost Strike as your fillers. Don't even touch Obliterate again yet. This is where playing Masterfrost becomes quite tough, as in order to be any good at this spec, you'll need to be watching your runes pretty much consistently. And here's why. You'll want to keep one Unholy rune on cooldown and one off cooldown pretty much all the time. This is essential as it stops Runic Empowerment from refreshing your Unholy runes when you Frost Strike, allowing them to use Howling Blast as much as possible, by only refreshing Frost and Death runes. When you pass 90 Runic Power, you want to start then Frost Striking to regain your runes and also prevent yourself from capping on Runic Power. Then, once the one Unholy rune you just put on cooldown with that first Obliterate comes close to coming off cooldown, you want to Obliterate again to put it back on cooldown for the reasons we stated above regarding Runic Empowerment. Something else you also need to watch is your Blood Plague. In order to maximise DPS, you want to be using that Unholy rune to refresh Blood Plague by using Plague Strike. So every 2 or so Obliterates later, you want to be using Plague Strike instead of Obliterate. So overall, the priority looks a little bit like this. Diseases, using Outbreak if it's available. Obliterate if both Frost and Unholy pairs and or both Death runes are up. Obliterate if both Unholy runes are up. Howling Blast if under 90 Runic Power. Frost Strike if over 90 Runic Power, Howling Blast if under 60 Runic Power, then Frost Strike and Horn of Winter. So basically what you'll need to be doing is watching your Unholy runes and Runic Power. In regards to your Unholy runes, when that one that you put on cooldown is about to come off cooldown, you'll need to choose whether or not to refresh it with Obliterate or Plague Strike. Use Obliterate for more damage when Blood Plague isn't about to drop off, or use Plague Strike to reapply Blood Plague to keep your DPS at maximum. In regards to your Runic Power, you'll want to be watching how much of it you have. If you're above 90 Runic Power, then you'll want to be Frost Striking. If you're below 90 Runic Power, or even below 60 Runic Power, you'll definitely want to be Howling Blasting. By Howling Blasting, you increase your Runic Power. By Frost Striking, you decrease it to avoid the rune power cap, and also free up those runes to allow you to Howling Blast again. It's basically a never-ending cycle, or a rotation. As with any rotation, practice makes perfect, and then you'll need to learn to incorporate your cooldown. The cooldowns you have available as a Frost Death Knight are Pillar of Frost, Blood Tap, and Empower Rune Weapon. You want to be using these when you can, perhaps combining Blood Tap with Pillar of Frost to avoid the loss of that Frost rune, and then you'll just have to judge by yourself when to use Empower Rune Weapon selectively. Okay, so that's the hard bit out of the way. If you didn't quite get all that, please go back and listen to it again, as it's essential that you grasp the priority for Masterfrost. But now we're going to move on and look at the spec. The only viable spec for Masterfrost is the improved Blood Tap build. This will mean taking points out of Epidemic, which will cause you to be refreshing your diseases more often. It is also worth mentioning that seeing as there aren't too many interrupts needed in Dragon Soul at the moment, it's more beneficial to take 2 points out of Endless Winter, which reduces the runic power of your interrupts, and put them into Icy Reach, which will extend the range of your Howling Blast by 10 yards. This is just another utility that you can have for Howling Blast, which is the core mechanic to the Masterfrost rotation. Now let's look at the stats. Seeing as you're using Howling Blast a lot more often now, Mastery becomes a higher priority than Haste. You still want to hit an Expertise cap, however. That means getting hit to 8% and Expertise to 26 out of 26, and Strength should remain your main priority stat. Crit is still useless, however. One more thing to note here in the stats section is that many theory crafters have pointed out the haste breakpoint. This basically means that you should keep up at least 1750 haste. This is the breakpoint. This ensures that your rune regeneration stays at or is below 8 seconds. This helps to reduce the chances of you hitting lockout periods, which is where you have no runes to use at all. The final section of this guide is going to cover some useful add-ons. The first I'd like to mention is Asherus Runes. Seeing as rune watching is essential, this lightweight customizable add-on will prove extremely useful. Second one is Tell Me When. This add-on can be configured to track your diseases, internal cooldowns and procs. Watching these things are vital to effectively maximising rune usage. The final add-on I'm going to cover is Tidy Plates. Tidy Plates will help you when you need to change targets fast, monitor multiple targets' health, and most importantly track your diseases on multiple targets. I hope this guide has proved useful, and any comments/messages would be appreciated, especially if I've forgotten to cover something. Thanks, and have a nice day.